Yes, thank you so much for joining me. Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, it's our Friday live again, and we are live, and I'm excited about it. You already know, right? Friday lives are usually, exciting moments for me, right? And today we're going to be talking about how to raise responsible kids without losing your mind. My name is Marifa Otolorin, and I am the founder of Lola Loves parenting outfits that has been designed to equip parents with the necessary knowledge, the skills, the tool set for them to, first of all, grow personally, then equip their children with some of those skills so that they can be responsible, right? So they can be wholesome, right? And today, we're talking about one of the very important topic when it comes to LLP concepts, right? How to raise responsible kids without losing our minds as parents. Right. I hope that you're with me, and I hope that you have grabbed your paper and your pen. Don't come to classes like this without trying to write out something. Right. I like to say that there's a connection between our brain and our hand. Let us try as much as possible to take opportunity of this connection. Right. So that, of course, we can always, go back to some things that we talk about when we find ourselves in some parenting challenges that we need to tackle. Right. So this is something that is very important. Right. So redefining responsibility in children. What does it really mean to be responsible, to raise children that are responsible, right? And simply put, I can just say that our responsibility is the ability for one to respond to situations or even events around one with little or no external factor or pressure, right? So this is something that we need to know, that when we're talking about parenting, or when we're talking about responsibility in this context, we need to know that our expectations of our children must be age appropriate. If our expectations of our children is not age appropriate, it is something that we tend to struggle with. That's number one. Number two is that if we ourselves have not find it, easy to be responsible, right? A lot of time, we as parents, we want to raise responsible children, but a lot of time we do not take responsibility for our actions, for our words, and all of that. It's something that we need to work on first. If we do not have that characteristics as parents, we're either going to struggle trying to instill it in our children, or we're just going to raise children that are going to be hypocrites. They are just going to be hypocrites. They will be doing the things that you want them to do in your presence. And at the end of the day, they won't do it when you're no longer there, right? So we need to know that raising responsible children, it goes beyond making your children do the chores. It goes beyond making your children, do things. It goes beyond commanding them. It's not even about commanding them, right? So it's about being accountable. Right. So when we say being accountable, if we're talking about this thing, let's try as much as possible to look into ourselves first, introspect first, before we now try to paint it in our children. Right. So thank you so much for joining me, Al-Saud. There's a me that joined now. Thank you so much for joining me. Right. So it's about, first of all, introspecting, looking inward. Right. Am I accountable? Am I accountable before I can say that I want my children to be accountable? So it's first of being accountable, owning your own actions and their consequences, both good and bad, right? So that you have done something, either good or bad. You know that there's going to be consequences for it, and you're accountable for that thing. You're not pushing it to the next person beside you because you did this because of this person. You're taking ownership. You're taking accountability of whatever it is that you have done, right? It's about being reliable. Being reliable as a parent, first of all, then raising children who are also reliable, right? So we're able to follow through on our commitment, on our promises, right? So we ourselves are able to do that, and our children are also able to do that. Then if we find ourselves in a situation whereby we've made a commitment, we have made promises, but we're unable to meet up with it, being responsible is coming all out to our children, to talk to them that, okay, yes, I know that I promised, I know that I said that I was going to do this, but unfortunately, because of this, if it is something we can explain to them, we go on explaining it to them, letting them know that, okay, it's not as if I don't want to do this thing, but maybe the things that are beyond my control happen and I couldn't do it, right? So it's also about being reliable. Are we reliable as parents? Do we hold ourselves accountable to the things that we do, or to the things that we're expected to do, but we couldn't do? Are we reliable, right? It's also about being answerable to others. Understanding that our action, majorly as parents, is going to affect our children, or generally understanding that our actions are going to affect other people around us. So we are being answerable to others. We are being answerable to even our children, because we know that what is it that we do and that we did not do is something that is going to affect our children, right? Another thing about being responsible is that we are taking initiative. Right? We are taking initiative. We want our children to take initiative. When I was growing up, this was something that I heard a lot from my mom while I was growing up. And it's something, because, maybe because she didn't say it in a way that was negative, it's something that keeps ringing a bell in my head. And apart from the fact that it helps me through, when I was growing up and all of that, it's something that is helping me personally, presently, and also helping me in, in my business, in whatever it is that I am doing. Right. So she says something like, take initiative, take initiative. It is not everything that I have to tell you. You have to take initiative. So it is something that has really helped me. Right. So can we take initiative, doing the things that needs to be done without us being told every time to do it? You know that, yes, this is the right thing. Even if you are still finding difficult, you are struggling to be able to do it, you know that, yes, this is the right thing. I'm working towards being better. I'm working towards being that better parents, and I know that I'm taking initiative to do the right things, right? So, and the last one is that acting with integrity. Just like I have said, this is something that is very important. It is very important on our journey. This is one of, it's a very big thing for me. It's one of our core values, right, as a family, is integrity, which is doing the right thing even when no one at all is watching us. When no one is watching us, a lot of time, we want our children to portray this thing. We want them to be able to do the right thing, even when we're not there, when we're not watching them. We want them to be able to say, okay, yes, these are the things that I'm supposed to do. Let me do it. Let me follow it. But we want to introspect, like I have said, that we also do the right thing when no one is watching us. Are we someone who do the right thing when no one is watching? Are we someone who wants to go out with somebody and, the person is calling us and asking, where are you? You're still in the bathroom, or you're still somewhere, and you're telling the person that, okay, yes, you're on the bus when you're not on the bus. So it goes to something as little as that. One thing that we need to know is that our values is not something that should work somewhere, maybe in our family life, and it shouldn't work in our, in our career life, right? It is not something that should work in our, career life and should not work in our family life. Our values should be something that we hold into high esteem, irrespective of where we meet ourselves, right? So tell me, please, have you shared this with someone? Have you shared this with a parent? Have you invited other parents to come and benefit from this? This is a very important topic, and we need to do that. So please kindly do that and share with me in the comment section that you have done that, right? Join the discussion room if you are not there yet, and kindly let me know that you have shared this link and the flyer with parents in your circle. You will definitely have parents in your circle, right? So please kindly share this far and wide and let others also come and benefit from this. Let's come together to raise wholesome children that are going to make our society a better place, right? So all of these things that I have made mention of, being accountable, being reliable, being answerable to others, taking initiative and acting with integrity, we need to know that this thing cannot be achieved in our children when we, as parents, we assume, we just assume. We feel that this child should know this thing. This thing, we said so many things like, don't you know? Are you not supposed to know? The thing is, they don't know, and they are not supposed to know. And that's why we have been given, if we keep seeing ourselves as, occupying that position of a guide, then we'll stop assuming that our children knows. Our children do not know. A lot of time, yes, I understand that. A lot of time we want to, we feel like, so really, you don't know. Yes, it happens to me also. But if I find myself in that position whereby I want to say something like, so you don't know, don't you know? Then I know that there's something that I have not taught my children. And that's why I love to tell parents that whatever it is, introspect first, look inside, look inward first. What is that thing that I can do to make this better, right? So we cannot achieve this if we continue to assume. So we need to start taking responsibility ourselves as parents. And part of taking responsibility is occupying that place of a teacher Yes, I like to tell us that we need to occupy that place of a teacher. So if we have that intention, maybe when we were growing up, saying that we don't want to become a teacher, we're now parents, we need to occupy that position because it is important, right? So it is something that we should know that the lowest form of knowledge at all is assumptions. Assuming. We assume, let's assume. We are not economic students. They are not all economic students. We have some economic students. But then, when we need to know that when it comes to raising our children, we need to stop assuming. Because assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. We need to start being in a place whereby we'll come to the realization that, yes, this child does not know so many things. This child has been given to me empty. This child has been given to me without anything, and it is my own responsibility to guide my child. Right? So we need to start taking responsibilities for, excuse me, we need to start taking responsibilities for, our words, the things that we say. We need to say it and be responsible. Say that because there are times that we'll say something, then we'll say it because we say it in a way that we do not mean it, but we have said it. We need to take responsibility for our words. We need to take responsibility for our actions. What are those things that you have done? What are those things that you have done? Then you want to push it. You made me do this. No. We need, because if you are saying that if you did something good, for example, if you did something good, you will not say that, I did this because you made me do this. But if we do something bad, most especially to our children, we come to that conclusion saying that, hey, you made me do this. The truth is we can always choose the positive. And if we always choose the positive, we will not be in a place where we'll keep saying that you made me to hit you, you made me to yell. So we need to start taking responsibility for our actions, for our inactions, for the structures that we make, for our systems, for everything. Because like I always say, you are a leader. You are a leader. And a leader is not just found wanting. You are the leader of your home. So for you to be able to raise children who are responsible without you losing your mind, you have to become responsible yourself. So a lot of time we found that's why reparenting is something that is very important. If you actually want to embrace raising your children intentionally, you need to find yourself in a place whereby you are reparenting yourself. Because if you do not reparent yourself, you are definitely going to be using the old methods that you have to raise these children now. So it is important for us to reparent ourselves. So it's like a two-way thing, and that's why parenting is a lot challenging this period, or this time, this century is a lot challenging, because it requires us to, first of all, become that person that we want to see in our children before we now start teaching them, or before we now start, expecting something positive from them. So responsibility for children starts from very little consistent actions that are put in place, which evolves into greater life skills. Right. So it is not something that is very difficult. It just needs us to be present, to be consistent, and to know what exactly we are doing and why we are doing it. So this is something that is very important. Right. So helping kids to, internalize responsibility. Right. So we're talking about raising responsible children so that we do not lose our own mind. And before we can do that, it requires that we help our children to internalize what responsibility means, right? So internalizing responsibility will make our children see it as not something they need to run after them, to do certain things, but something that they are responsible for, because it is something that they have internalized. So it is not just about, dishing out rules. It is not just about our children following our commands and all of that, but it is about internalizing it. When you internalize something, you know that, yes, you're a core part of this thing, and it is important for you to see its success. So responsibility can be internalized by kids when we have a guiding principle. When we have a guiding principle and value system. I have not seen that topic. I have not seen that topic in parenting that we'll talk about, and it will not require us to talk about value system. And that's why the beginning of this year, when we're talking about, goal setting and all of that, we spoke so much about, value system. Value system is something that is very important. It's something that we need to put into perspective, because values live for a very long time. So it is not just about making rules. Rules are made to be broken. I would appreciate if somebody can help me put that in the comment section. Rules are made to be broken, but values are made to stay. Values are made to test, to last that time, to last that long time that we want it to last. Right? So rules are created to be broken, but values are made to stand that test of time. Right? So helping our children to internalize, responsibility is something that we need. Before we can get there, we need to actually put down things that will help them to internalize it, which is the guiding principle and the value system. Right? Are people with me? Please, can you hear me? I can't see any message at all, and I need to be sure that I am not alone. Please kindly let me know that I am not alone. Put a comment in the comment section and reassure me that you are with me, please. Is there anyone who is finding joining? Okay, yes, thank you so much. Rules are meant to be broken and values are meant to be internalized. Yes, they are meant to be internalized. They are meant to stand that test of time. Thank you so much, Ms. Salama. Right. So this is something that is very important. We need to know that when we have values put in place, when we have systems put in place, it is something that would stand the test of time. There's every possibility that it is not just going to be broken because it is not a rule. It is a value. It is something that we live. It's something that can be internalized, right? So this simply means that having a shared vision of where you want your family to be in, let's say, 5 to 10 years, right? We want to raise children that are responsible, right? That's okay. That's a very good one. But what are the things that we need to put in place so that our children will be in a place whereby they internalize the fact that, okay, yes, this is something that is very important. And this is something that we need to, this is something that we need to keep working with. Right? It is about having that shared system. It is about having that shared vision as a family. What is it that I want to see in my children? Or what is it that we want to see as a family in 10 to 15 years? So it requires having a vision. It requires having a mission. And, your values being clearly spelled out. A lot of time when we talk about important topics like this, you find me talking about values, values and all of that. And this is because there's no solid thing that can be built when it comes to family system or when it comes to anything at all that lasts, if you cannot build values, if you cannot build structures, if you cannot have systems in place. Now, so I'm going to give, I'm going to paint a scenario for us now, and I will appreciate that we share our responses as this session is going. This is something that is very important. I want us to have this conversation so that we'll be in a place of, shared vision too, right? So now I want you to imagine having a jigsaw puzzle. Right? Imagine having a jigsaw puzzle to complete as groups of friends. Maybe you have about 5 friends, right? And you are together and you are trying to complete a jigsaw puzzle, right? So you as a person, let's say that you are the one that is championing this. You have access to the final scene of that puzzle. You have an access to the final scene of that puzzle. And you haven't shown other of your friends, the remaining 4 people around, amidst you. You have not shown them what the final scene is. We all know what a jigsaw puzzle is, right? So you have not shown them. And you want to get to a point whereby you are able to fix that jigsaw puzzle to get to that final stage. So now tell me, what do you think is going to happen in the process of completing that puzzle? Right? This is a question that is thrown to every person on this call, and I want you to give your feedback, please. Right, please kindly give your feedback. I'm going to ask the question again. Imagine you are having a jigsaw puzzle, right? You want to complete that jigsaw puzzle as a family, and only you have an access to the final scene of that puzzle. Right, this is what we want to get. This is where we want to get to, right? Only you have that final scene, but you have not shown other family members, other of your friends, right? You have not shown other friends that, okay, yes, this is where we are driving at. This is what we want to get. This is our final product. This is the final scene, right? What do you think is going to happen in the process of trying to complete the puzzle? Please, I'm waiting for your responses. Is someone typing? Are people with me? Right, I can see that people are typing. I want to know. I want to know exactly if we have a clear, yes, the puzzle will not be completed because others do not have the idea of what the end result should be. Thank you so much, Ms. Rafiat. Thank you so much. Right, it's not going to be completed. Okay, let's see other responses. Let's see other people's responses. Yes, for those of you that are joining, thank you so much for joining, Miss Idaya, Miss Amina. Thank you so much for joining me. Right. So what I said, and I'm expecting people's responses on, is that imagine you have a jigsaw puzzle to be completed with your friends, with 5 of your friends, and you only have that final scene of that puzzle. Only you have the final scene of that puzzle. Other members do not have other friends of yours do not have the scene, do not have the final scene of that puzzle. You haven't shown them. What do you think is going to happen in the process of trying to complete your puzzle, right? So I want you to share with me what do you think is going to happen? Yes, the puzzle will not be completed. Yes, thank you, Miss Rafiat. Thank you, Miss Aziza. Thank you. You would likely be the only one to complete it, which might be stressful. Thank you so much. That's an awesome response, right? You'll be the only one trying to achieve the goal, while others will be lost along the line, which will make the goals difficult to be completed. Thank you so much. Thank you. You will be the only one knowing what to do, another would not know how to have it completed. Thank you so much. Those are brilliant responses. Thank you so much for contributing to it. So that's it. You have it. You've said it, right? You're just going to be struggling. You are going to be struggling. It's going to be very stressful for you because only you have the final scene. You know what you are driving towards. Other members do not know what they are driving towards. So even if your others will be left out and not benefit from the puzzle, yes, they are not going to benefit from it because they don't even know what you are trying to make. They are lost, right? They are lost. They don't know what you are doing. So even if you are trying to put, A, B, C, D in A, B, C, D, somebody is going to be removing the C from where the C is and will say, no, this is where it's supposed to be, because that person does not have it in mind, right? So it goes back to beginning with the end in mind, trying as much as possible to carry every member of the family along. And that's exactly what it means to have a vision, to have a mission, and to have values that are clearly spelled out. This is not something we can do, we can do without. We can't do without it. It is something that is very important, right? I was speaking with some group of women, some Muslim women on Sunday, and, we're talking about consistency, productivity, and all of that. And I said that even the religion of Islam, the religion is something that is perfect. It is perfect. It doesn't have any, abnormalities or something. But if you look at it critically, if you sit down and look at it, if you reflect, this religion came with structures and system. It came with structures and system. I was asking those people, back then, that you can imagine a situation whereby we don't have the Quran that guides us. We don't have the Hadith that guide us. We don't have anything. And Allah has just said, just go to the word and continue to serve me. There are going to be so many abnormalities. We won't even know that, yes, we're supposed to pray 5 times daily. We won't even know that, okay, there are 5 pillars of Islam that we need to follow. We won't know anything because we don't know, because there's no template. But that's why I say that if there's anything at all that is important to you, you need to pass it through a structure and a system. And it starts with having the clear vision. What is the vision? What is our end goal? Is to enter Jannah. Is to be in that place whereby there's going to be continuous enjoyment and all of that. We already have it in mind. We know where we are working towards. Then Allah has now given us that structure and system. He has put it in place for us to say, okay, yes, this is the template. This is the guide. So just go. So you can imagine if we don't have that, there will be nothing to guide us and we're just going to be there. So this is something that is important. If you are trying to put the puzzle together, other family members or other friends will be lost. They'll keep disrupting it because they don't have the goal in mind. They are not disrupting it because they just want to. They are not disrupting it because they are adamant, or because they just want to be rebellious, or because they don't just want to get it, but they don't have the end goal in mind. So think about it. They don't have the final scene. Only you have the final scene, right? So they do not know where exactly their destination is. So I now want you to take this now and introspect it. Take it back to having a family member, having your family members who do not have the goal in mind. They don't know anything. So a lot of the time we say things like, these children they don't just want to be responsible. They just want to do this. They just want to do that. We've forgotten that we have not carried them along in our process, right? And not carrying them along in our process is something that is going to make the process more difficult for us, right? So things have changed. This is something that we know. We could probably do certain things while we were growing up, and once our parents say do this and we do it and like that. But it's not the same thing anymore. Things have changed. So it requires that we start beginning with the end in mind and carrying our family members along with it. Right? So, excuse me, children internalizing responsibility requires that they do things because they know why they are doing it. It's not just because mommy said we should do it. It's not just because we have rules. It's not just because mommy is commanding or daddy is commanding. Right? So it requires that we do what? It requires that they do those things because they know why they are doing it. So with this, it won't just be dishing out rules. It won't just be commanding. It won't just be setting, just giving instructions, but it's going to be that everyone, we have a shared mission. We have a shared vision, of why things are being done the way they are being done. We have a shared vision of why we are doing the things that we are doing. We are trying to, as much as possible, we want to raise responsible children. We know that we want to raise our children to be responsible, but does our children know that we want to raise them to be responsible? So this is something that we really need to share. It's supposed to be a shared vision. There's supposed to be a shared vision before we can actually get to that destination, right? So this is the importance of having a family value, having a family mission and vision well spelled out, not leaving anyone behind. A lot of time, even when we have just rules and those rules are just there, we, even as parents, we want to flaunt the rules. Yes, we want to flaunt the rules, right? So this is something that is very important. Having having that value system is something that is going to help us in this journey. So what are those things? Apart from the fact that, okay, yes, we now have that, our shared values, right? So like one point we want to take away from this session this evening is that you want to first of all be in a place whereby you have that system in place. You have that value system in place whereby, and it is well communicated with your family members. They have the end goal in mind, and they are working towards the same direction, right? So now let's not, if you now have those things, let's now talk about those factors that might undermine responsibility, those things that might not make your children to be responsible, even after you have put, the systems in place, even if after you have put the structures in place and you feel that, okay, yes, we now have this structure, we now have the system, we now understand where we are going to. What are those things that are going to hinder us from actually raising children that are going to be responsible? The first thing, like I have said, is lack of structure, right? So not embracing systems and structure in your home, just living each day as it comes, just going, just winging it, like I always say, right? Just winging it. Just wake up, And the truth about all of these things is, winging it actually takes away our peace. It takes away our peace because winging it will now put you in a place whereby you keep giving instruction. Don't forget that, what we spoke about is that you want to parent from the place whereby you don't keep talking about instruction. You don't keep giving instructions. You don't keep talking and nagging when your children don't do certain things, right? So when you actually put it in place, it gives you that peace of mind. You're not always in a place whereby you are nagging, whereby you continue to give instructions. So it gives that peace. It gives it to you. Right. I have a particular ebook, having your family values, family system guide. You can actually, go to our seller page. It's for a ridiculous amount of, price. Get it from there. Sit down with it. Create your family system. Create that structure. Create that structures. Create that value. It is something that is important for you on your journey, right? So the second thing that does not make us to actually put responsibility into view is our parenting style. Our parenting style is something that undermines responsibility. And why does our parenting style, why does it undermine it? A lot of us are coming from so much. A lot of us are coming from a family system whereby we had neglectful parents, we had permissive parents, we had authoritative parents, we had authoritarian parents, and of course, we have not gotten, raising children intentionally from our parents. So there's every possibility that we're just going to be doing the same thing that our parents did. So how does this undermine responsibility? If you're if you're either an authoritative parent, that dolphin parent, you're always warm, cozy, and all of that. Your children are always wanting to be around you, especially those ones that have their children as their friends and all of that. If you are a parent like that, there's every possibility that you're going to be undermining responsibility, because you always want to waive things that your children are supposed to do. You want to waive it because you feel that you need to have a friendship. You need to be friends with your children. So because of that, you have not raised your children to actually see responsibility and see it as something that, this is what I am responsible for. And that's why you see a lot of these parenting styles actually have their own problems. We have the authoritarian parents. The authoritarian parents, it's not as if they don't know what they want, but they feel that they need to be very strict for them to be able to get their children to where they are going to. They're the tiger parents. Any little thing, they're there. Any little thing, they're shouting. They're dishing out instruction. They're giving out, they're commanding. That's the word. They are commanding. If you're constantly in that place, there's every possibility that your children might be responsible, just because they want to be safe, just because they don't want mommy and daddy's problem, just because they don't want any trouble, just because they're going to be walking on eggshells. They're going to be walking on eggshells. So they're just going to be doing the things that they are doing. Don't forget, we said it from the beginning that one of those things that responsibility entail is actually, acting with integrity. Acting with integrity, doing the right things, even when no one is watching. So if you're that authoritarian parent, that tiger parent, your children might be doing the things that you want them to do, but they're just going to be doing it in your presence. They're just going to be doing it because you're there. And that is one thing that has affected us as a person. Think about it. Think about those things that you were doing back then. You were doing, very well because your parents just wanted you to do it. Think about it now. Even if you know that it is something that is important, you still find it very difficult to do it. Think about it. It could be reading. It could be anything at all. I like to use reading as an example because this is something that so many people struggle with. So if you're that, that type of parents that has that parenting style, there's every possibility that your children are just going to be working on eggshells. They are just going to be responsible superficially. Not because, yes, responsibility is something that should happen. This is something that I should have, right? Another parenting style that could, hinder, responsibility in your children is being neglectful. A lack of attention. You are there, but you are not there, right? Yes, the parenting styles, right? You are there, but you are not there. You're physically present, but you're emotionally absent. You're just neglected. You don't care. They tell you that your child did so something. You just, they're children. There's nothing, or the type of people that just say, these children, then we'll keep quiet. Nothing more. We just complain, or we don't even complain. We just say things like, look at what you did. Then that's all. There's nothing more. There's nothing less. Neglectful parents, right? You're not there. You're there, but you're not there. You're there physically. You're just there. You're not there emotionally. You have not connected with your children. You don't know what exactly is going on in their lives. You're just there. You feel that this is something that will just jump on them, once they keep growing. A lack of attention, right? You could be an indulgent parent, a permissive parent. You just permit everything. You just permit everything. You're just permissive. There's nothing that, actually comes to you. A neglectful parent. Yes, that's neglectful. No way, an indulgent parent. You just permit anything and everything. If you fall in this, in all of these parenting styles, there's every possibility that you're not going to raise your children to be responsible, because there's a lack of responsibility already in the whole of those styles. There's a lack of responsibility in the whole of those styles. And don't forget that if you do not have it, then you cannot give it. If you do not have it, then you cannot give it. So having all of this might hinder you from raising children that are responsible. Think about it. Think about the whole of these styles that we've spoken about. The one that can actually put you in a place whereby you raise children that are responsible is being an intentional parent. Being an intentional parent, doing the things that you are doing because you know the results that you want and you know the results that you are going to get. You know what you're aiming for. You know that your actions or your inaction is going to affect your children. You are raising them to be responsible. At the same time, you have a way whereby there's that connection between you. You have that connection between you. However, you're still raising children that are responsible. This is something that is important. And this is something that is doable. A lot of time we feel that it is not doable. We feel that when we have connection with our children, when we connect with them so much, then the authority is going to, go. But it's not true. It is not something that is true. So it is important. Yes, please. Yes. Yes, Umunabila. Right. So it is something that is very important for us to look into. We have to be intentional. So it takes us back to the roots. It's something that we need to know. That if we actually want to raise children that are responsible, we need to look into our style. Are we an authoritarian parent? Are we authoritative? Are we neglectful? Are we permissive, on our journey? Right. So then the last one that we're going to be talking about, we have loads of them, but time will not permit us to talk about the whole of them this evening. Another thing that undermines responsibility and independence in our children is yelling and shouting. It is not discipline, because it is not teaching. Like I always say, that discipline is teaching. It's yelling. This is one of the factors that undermines responsibility, because it only impacts that emotional brain and not the thinking brain. If you were with me throughout when we were talking about yelling or no yelling, we spoke about raising emotionally intelligent children and all of that, and you took emotional intelligence course, you understand this particular point better, right? So what yelling does is that it just impacts the emotional brain. And that's why one thing that I have noticed is that if you constantly be in a place whereby you are shouting, you are yelling, your children will not still do the things that you want them to do. Think about it. It is not because they do not want to do it. It is because your actions are damaging what is supposed to be working for them. Your actions are damaging it. It's damaging their brain. Right? So it is a factor that undermines responsibility, because it only impacts the emotional brain and not the thinking brain. I like to make analysis of this so much that in everyone we have like a major part of the brain. We have the amygdala and we have the prefrontal cortex. The amygdala is responsible for anything emotion, for the fight, and freeze responses and all of that. And it is always there to keep us safe. It is always there to make sure that we are safe. Right. So the moment we keep yelling, what happens is that the amygdala is overworking. It's overworking. It's doing its own work. And that part of the brain that is supposed to think is not going to be thinking, which is the prefrontal cortex. So the two are supposed to be working hand in hand. So if you find yourself in a place whereby you keep yelling, you keep shouting, you might find it difficult to raise children that are independent or children that are responsible, because their thinking brain is not working how it is supposed to work. It's not working well enough. It is just that amygdala that is working, which is saving them from, it just serves as a safety for them. Right? So yelling constantly doesn't make children use their thinking brain, like I have said. The amygdala, which happens to be that emotional part of the brain, is always active, and it keeps your child safe. Is always keeping your child in a place whereby they are safe. And the only time it wants to, the only time it's working is that place when they see that, okay, your child is no longer safe and they want to keep them safe. So it's just going to be doing its job. So what now happens is that if you are constantly doing it, the prefrontal cortex, it keeps coming down. It keeps being inactive. Then the amygdala continues to be active. So it's just going to be about keeping your child safe. So let me now tell you let's now relate it to trying as much as possible to make your children responsible. So if your child wants to take an initiative, he wants to do something, right? Don't forget that one of those that we said responsibility is taking initiative. If your child wants to take initiative, that thing just comes to your child and says that, if you go and damage this thing like this, mommy is going to come and shout. Mommy is going to come and yell, you better leave it. You better leave it. If you go and spoil it, you better leave it. What happens? That amygdala is overworking, is overactive, and is trying to protect your child. So it just keeps coming. Hey, if you go and spoil in your hand now, you know what you're going to see. It's trying to keep your child safe because it is overworking. So you want to see, and that's why a lot of the time, only if we do not just want to say the truth to ourselves, if you want to be hypocritical, that's why you find yourself in a place whereby what you yelled about yesterday, you will still yell about it today. You probably still yell about it tomorrow because your children are not learning from it. They are not learning anything. That part of their brain that is supposed to make decisions for them, that is supposed to help them to, for that higher order thinking and all of that, it's not working because the amygdala is overactive. So when they want to take initiative, they just, once that thing just comes to them that, you better be careful and leave this thing, they just leave it because the amygdala is working. So it leaves what yelling does, what shouting does, what, very harsh discipline and toxic discipline does is that it does not allow your children to take initiative and it does not make them to be responsible. It will not make them to be independent because, of course, when they make mistakes, you are always there. I don't know who is following our series on Instagram. We're talking about those things that you must condone to actually raise children that are independent and responsible. If you are not following it, you need to follow it, right? It's something that, I keep sharing, to today's interval so that I do not overwhelm you with it. So if you are not following it, please make sure that if you are not even following us there, make sure that you follow us. If you are not on Instagram, you can join through our Facebook page. It's always posted there too, so that you are going to follow the series, right? You are following. Thank you so much, Miss Rashida. Right. So this is something that you need to condone it for you to be able to raise children that are independent and that are responsible. So it's just going to be leaving that prefrontal cortex inactive. And that is what it needs for children to be able to take initiative, become independent, become responsible. Right? So, and this is because people generally do things that are logical after they have that feelings of safety. So the only time your child will want to take initiative, the only time your child will want to be responsible is when they know that they are safe. When they know that their mistakes are not going to be, it's not going to equal punishment for them. When they do not have that fear. But the moment there is fear, parents that attended, mastering emotions as a parent, because they will understand this deeper and better because we dipped, really into it very well. We spoke about it so much. We spoke about how all of these things even affect us as adults. Do you know that, the amygdala in even adults, it's so much affects us to the extent that we are hyperactive, but we do not think. And that's why so many people fall into scam. You don't get it. This is one of the reasons why so many adults fall into scam. It's overactive. It's hyperactive. We just want to be safe. We just want to be safe. But still, we still fall into scam. People still scam us because that logical part of our brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, is not working. It is not as active as the amygdala. Don't let me go there. I'm not going to bore you with so much. If you actually want to get it deep down, please, you need to take up that course. It's not something, by the time we're having that course again, it's not going to come for that price because I know that the value that was dished out in that course is not something that should go for that price, right? So you want to take advantage of that course, right? So let's go quickly. Factors which undermines responsibility. Another one is micromanaging. Micromanaging. What does this mean? It's just micromanaging. So trying as much as possible to maybe to watch after, to overdo things with your children, maybe because of that perfectionist, ideology that we have. So micromanaging may seem helpful in the short term. You are trying to make your children be able to do things perfectly. Maybe they didn't wash the plates clean. You want to wash it again. This is something that I myself, I'm still trying as much as possible to manage. That's to tell you that I'm not speaking from the place of being perfect. I'm not speaking from the place of a perfect parent. I'm speaking from the place of a parent who is also in the game and understands how it goes. So you find yourself wanting to do it for them or redoing whatever it is that your child has done. So what do I do to avoid this? I just leave them. I just allow them to do their things because I know that if I am there, I would probably want to, micromanage them, right? So it may seem helpful. You might be like, Coach, you're just teaching your child how to do certain things and all of that. But you need to know that over time, it undermines a child's sense of responsibility. It's going to undermine your child's sense of responsibility, because it's going to be sending a subtle, but damaging messages to your children. It's going to, when you constantly over your children, when you are redoing what they have done, it might be sending a message that they are not capable, that they can't do it, that, they can't do things right. There's nothing they can do right. And one thing about our brain is that it holds on to negative things more than positive things, a whole lot. If you think about it, you hear people say, just focus on the positive, just focus on the positive. We even have that, this is something we hear that, charge your positive affirmations and all of that. This is because it has something that it does to our brain. It has something that it does to our brain. So if you're constantly hovering over your children, you redo the things that they do, it's sending a subtle message to your children that they are not enough. There is nothing that they can do well. There is nothing that they can do right. And because of that, I'm so sorry, and because of that, they will find themselves in a place whereby they are moving back. They don't want to take responsibility, right? They don't want to take initiative because they feel that they are not enough. They feel that they are not doing well. They feel that they are not capable. And this is where self-esteem issues also comes in. So those are the things that can actually make us not to raise children that are responsible. And that's why before you can raise responsible children, you need to work so much on your emotions. This is something that is important. And that's why I said that being emotionally intelligent is at the heart of positive parenting. It's at the heart of raising your children intentionally. Because if you are not, you find it difficult to teach them even the simplest thing. Even the simplest thing. Because you're always going to be assuming that they should know it and they should know it. Meanwhile, they don't know it until they are being taught. Right, let's move. We have less time. Right, so the role of routines in raising responsible children. What are the rules of routines in raising responsible children? We spoke about the fact that if we have a lack of structure, then there's every possibility that we wouldn't be able to raise children that are responsible because they don't even know what to expect. So why structure breed independence and responsibility, right? A presence of structure in a home, it builds independence and also responsibility, because a child who knows and understands what to be expected will live to be responsible than one who does not know what to expect. So if you have a structure, if you have a system that says, okay, yes, this is how we do our things, this is how it is done, this is why it is done that way, and all of that, your child already knows, already understand that, okay, yes, these are the things that are expected to be done. Even if I make a mistake, mommy is not going to come and shout. Mommy is not going to come and, do all sorts. Right? So they are in that place whereby they feel safe. So they are able to do things. Right. So this is one of the reasons why structure is very important, because everything is predictable. Right. So structure is said to be, that backbone of positive parenting. This is something that is important. And what does it mean? It involves creating a clear system, a realistic routine. We want to talk about routine, and that's why we're going back to structures again. Right. So it has to do with creating that, that clear system. The system is clear. Everyone understands it. A realistic routine and strategies that provide a sense of order and predictability in a family's daily life. So you have your clear system. This is how we do our things here, right? No matter what, this is how we do our things here. There's a realistic routine of, okay, yes, this is how we follow up to do our things. Right? And there are strategies in place that helps us to have a sense of order. So your children already know that, okay, yes, after this is this, after this is this, from a very young age. I spoke about this when we're talking about, no yelling challenge. I don't know those that took the course, this is something that will ring a bell in them. They already know that, okay, yes, this is how we do it. It starts from a very young age. And that's why I said that raising responsible children, it starts from the very little things that we do in the home. So it helps your children to have that clear system, that clear understanding that, okay, yes, these are the things that we're expected to do, and we do it, right? It helps children to understand expectations and responsibility. They're able to respond. They have the ability to respond because they know what to respond to. So you might consider having the following routine in your home to foster a sense of predictability and to furtherly raise children who are able to live independent of you and who turns out to be responsible, right? So today, if you're not taking anything away from this class, make sure that you go out Write out your morning routine. Don't assume that your children know it. That's number one. Don't assume that your children will remember it. That's number two. Because you have different types of learners. We're not even going to go there this evening. But don't assume that your children are just going to know. So the routines that you might want to consider, you want to write out in a beautiful way. Start somewhere. I like to say that pen and paper is not something that is expensive now. So let us sit down as parents, first of all, being responsible. Let us write out our morning routine. Okay, yes, after school routine. These are the things that you would do after school. You put your lunchbox here, do this, you change your clothes, you eat, let us have that routine spelled out. Bedtime routine. Okay, yes, it is time for bed. These are the things that we do, right? You can do it. I don't know, I was sharing it some days, I was sharing it in a particular session that my children so much understand this thing that even when you as the parent, you are doing something contrary to what they are supposed to be doing, they will be the one to tell you that, mommy, this is the thing, this is what you are supposed to be doing. And a child will only do that if that child is safe, right? A child will only do that if that child is safe with you. If that child is not safe with you, that child will not be able to tell you that, okay, mommy, this is what you are supposed to do. And a child will not be safe with you if your child says the right thing, and because you want to use your authority, you say something like, well, who are you to tell me that? Who are you to go and do it? Go and do it, I'll join you. And that's why it has to be a value system that you are also accountable to, right? So you want to have a study time, routine. You want to have a bedtime routine, after school routine. Have it like that. Help your children to internalize it. We spoke about internalizing it, right, in the middle of the session. Help them to internalize it. This is something that is important. Routine is something that is important when you want to raise children that are independent and that are responsible. They know what to expect. They know the things that they are expected to do. We might want to come to that conclusion whereby, hey, yes, they know. They already know that this is what they're supposed to do, but they don't do it. It is because maybe you have only created rules. You have not created value system. And that's why value system is something that is important. You can start from when your children are just 2. Yes, 2 years, 3 years. There's a particular ebook that I have on Seller to, Little and Big Help, of how your 6-month-old should be able to know that, okay, yes, they should start doing something. Children thrive on routines. Children thrive on routines. It's something we want to put in our daily life. It's something that we want to be a part of our life. That is the only time we can instill it in our children. And one thing that we should know as even adults is that when we have routines, we are able to achieve more than when we do not have anything. When we're just winging it. We wake up today, after we finish praying, we don't even know what to do. Should I go and cook? Should I go and do this? What routine does is that it helps you to understand your energy level too. So you are able to give important things your energy rather than unimportant ones. Let me not go there this evening, but I just want you to understand that in your journey of raising responsible children, if you actually want to raise children that are responsible and you still want to be sane, you want to have a sane mind, then this is something that you need to put in place, right? So what are the importance of building a communication channel? So now, another thing that is important when we're trying to raise children that are responsible is that we need to have a communication channel, right? So a communication channel is something that is going to help you to establish open and healthy communication, right? Yes, they thrive on routine, right? So communication channel helps to establish open and healthy communication within the family system. You have an open communication. Don't forget the analogy that we started using from the beginning, that you want to complete a jigsaw puzzle. You have the final scene, others do not have the final scene. In your process, if let's now say everyone now have, they have seen the final scene, they've seen the final scene, and we just keep it aside and we keep working. There are times that we need to refer to the final scene again. Okay, let's check it again. Yes, okay, yes, we're on track. We put it down again and we continue. This is one thing that communication channel helps us to do. It helps us to establish open and healthy communication within the family system, right? It ensures that family members can express their thoughts, their feelings, and their concerns freely and respectfully. And why is this important on our journey of raising children that are responsible? They get to communicate to us that, okay, yes, mommy, I think this thing is no longer working for us. Okay, why did you say it's no longer working? Let's talk about it. Let's fish it out. Let's do something. Then, and we'll be able to do something. We'll be able to change. If it means that we want to change something, we're able to change it. So it helps you to review the activities at home, reframe it if there's a need for you to do that, tackle challenges if you have challenges, and talk about the ways forward. A lot of time when we want to deal with challenges in our home, we don't have, because that's what we're used to. We just want to be shouting over it. We just want to be talking and be, we keep shouting and we keep screaming about it and all of that, not knowing that our children are learning. Then we now come back and say that I have said these things 1,000 times. That 1,000 times didn't stick. That means there's a problem with your communication channel that needs to be worked on. So you need to have a clear communication channel whereby your children will be able to talk to you that, okay, yes, we want to do these things. Not if we don't want to do it. But because of the fact that we always assume, and that's why I spoke about one thing sometimes back on my WhatsApp status, that we generalize things. We generalize things when it comes to our children. We say things like, those children, they don't listen. Some parents, group of parents might just be talking. Then you say the same thing. It's the same thing. My own child, this. Yes, they don't listen. Then we generalize it. So we go back home with the intention of children don't listen, and we deal with our children in that manner of they don't listen. Then we now start hammering on the negative rather than the positive. Then we never see anything good in what the children are doing because we have generalized what we're not supposed to generalize. So having this communication channel is something that is going to help us to reframe things if we need to reframe it, to talk about challenges if we have any, and for us to implement better ways out for us to be able to get to that end that we want, that end that is well written down and is well communicated. So what are these channels of communication? It's family meetings. Family meetings. I used to say something, and I love to say that if organizations that are dealing with services and products, if they can come together maybe once in a week to have a meeting of how they are going to progress, to have a meeting of the things that they need to do for them to be able to get to wherever it is that they are going to. So what is going to happen to us as parents that are raising human beings, not having a frequent meeting like that? What? Tell me, what is that thing? If people that are dealing with this can actually go as far as meeting weekly to talk about how to talk about people that were supposed to raise, that was to guide, to become what we want to really see in them, to become children that are responsible, children that have integrity. What is going to be wrong with sitting down to talk to our children about whatever it is that we want them to have? So we need to have an open mind of open communication channel, family meeting, active listening. Active listening, this particular active listening is still something that is under emotional intelligence that we spoke about in the course. So a lot of us don't listen. Then we come back and say that our children don't listen. This is something that is very common. We keep saying it over and over again. Children don't listen. King Baron. Yeah, that's the word. King Baron. The question is, are we borrowing as parents? Permit me to use the word. Do we listen to them? Do we practice active listening to them? You see, this our devices is something that has taken away listening from our children. When your children come to you and they want to talk to you, honor them. Honor them. Put down your phone and listen to them. If you want your children to honor you, if you want your children to listen to you, honor them, to listen to them. Practice active listening with them. Have an open communication channel. Have discussion about chores and responsibility. Have discussions around it. So you don't just be in a place whereby you're just commanding, you're just giving rules and all of that. So don't just assume. Like I said from the beginning, the lowest form of knowledge is assumption. So you want to talk to them. Okay, yes, yesterday I noticed that when I came back from work, you didn't wash the plates. What happened? Then your child can, a lot of the time, we maybe because of where we are coming from, when our children tell us something, we assume also that they are lying, or they don't just want to say the truth, or we assume a lot. Okay, what happened? Why didn't you wash the plates? You might want to say something like, mommy, the math assignment that was given to me in school today was very difficult. I couldn't finish it on time, and because of that, I couldn't wash the plates. Talk to your children. They are human beings. Talk to them. Practice active listening with them. Chores and responsibility discussion. Talk to them about it. The truth is, if you talk to them, I was saying it sometimes back, like, if there's anything you want to achieve when it comes to your family, when it comes to a family system, discuss it with your children. You will notice that you achieve it better than when you do not carry them along with it. Who is going to agree with me on this? When you discuss important things to your children that you want to achieve, you achieve it better and faster than when you do not carry your children along with it. Who is going to agree with me on this? Or who is going to disagree with me on this? No matter how little your children are, don't forget that whatever it is that we want to see in our children, it starts from now. It starts from when they are little. It starts from when they are very young. And that's why when people give that excuse of, my child is still small, she's still 3, she's still 4. I mean, she's still this, we don't need this. Let's finish with tantrum before we start dealing with this. You will find out that you would have piled up so many things. You would have, thank you so much, Ms. Rashida. You would have piled up so many things that when that time comes and you feel that, okay, yes, intentional parenting is something you want to actually, start and all of that, you will find out that you have missed opportunities. You have missed opportunities. Do you know that raising children that are emotionally intelligent, you do it better when your children are between the ages of 0 to 5? And once you miss that opportunity, not until your children are now teenagers, not until they are adolescents, you now know what's that happening at that time. You keep fighting your children. You keep fighting them because you don't still understand that is a window of opportunity. I'm already digressing. Let me quickly finish my slide. Right, it's already past 6, right? Yes, past 6, past 8. So building a responsibility culture at home, it is a culture that you need to build. Don't forget about that. We said that our children need to internalize it, right? So what you want to do for you to be able to have that culture of responsibility in your home, the first thing you want to do is that you want to assign age-appropriate tasks. Like I said, it starts from, when they are very little. You want to assign age-appropriate tasks. In that ebook that I was talking about, Little Hands, Big Help, it gives different, tasks, different age-appropriate tasks that you can involve your children in, right? So you want to start assigning age-appropriate tasks. You want to start intentionally teaching your children skills. This is something that I say over and over again, over and over and over. I just spoke about it last week. You want to start teaching your children the skills, life skills that matter. It's not just about 1, 2, 3. It's not just about ABC. We won't go there too much. Then after teaching them those skills, we need to test it. We need to test those skills before expecting that our children will be able to do certain things perfectly, or they'll be able to do it the way we want them to do it. Model what you want to see. Model what you want to see. A lot of us, when our children are still very young, they're still small. Maybe our children are still like 7, 8, or 6, 7, 8, and like that. A lot of time, we just want to give orders. We just want to give orders. Say, go and watch the place. Oh, yeah, go and do this. Oh, yeah, go and do that. Without us doing anything. We want to start eating the fruit of our labor without actually planting that fruit. If there's something like that, we want to start eating it. No, it does not work that way. It takes a lot of commitment for us to, I tell people that how can I be sweeping or I cannot be washing plate and my children will now be sitting down. They will be on a video game or they will be watching television. Of course, we have a screen time already, so it's not something to talk about. If this is something that you struggle with as a parent, you are doing something, your children are supposed to be doing something, they're down on the television, it is your problem, it is not the child's problem. It is you not being responsible enough to have a screen time policy in your home. It is about you, not your child. So try to introspect. If you see a problem in your child, introspect. Don't assume that your child knows. Don't assume that your child is just there to, get you. Avoid gender-based chores. That's not exactly what I want to say, but I'm just trying to say that avoid a place whereby you say that, okay, yeah, you're a boy. You don't need to learn how to cook. You're a girl. You don't need to learn how to wash car. You avoid it. Maybe because I was the only child of my parents for 8 years. I didn't know anything at all. I didn't have that idea of, okay, yes, this choice is for male and this choice is for female. Every chore, you have to do it. I remember that I watched my father's car. Maybe when I was 9 or 10 years, I'll wash the car, I'll open the bonnet, I'll remove the oil, clean it, do everything. Don't start saying, this particular chore is for male, this particular chore is for female. It is not something that should happen in your home. If you're a female here listening to me and maybe you don't get your spouse to do things for you or do things with you and all of that, it's okay, but you can raise your children to actually do the things that you want them to do. It's okay, but you can do something. And I like to say that these children, when they are very, very young, they are so interested in doing things with us, but we discourage them from doing it. So avoid putting a particular chore and saying this is for male and this is for female. Male cook, male, they do everything. So let us stop it for us to be able to build that culture of responsibility in our children. Give praise and reinforcements that builds characters. Don't just say, hey, good boy, good girl. Let them know what you're praising them for. Let them know what you're trying to reinforce in them. Let them know what they have done right for them to get that praise so that they will be able to do it better. So focus on building the character. Focus on the efforts that they have put in doing that thing rather than just that outcome of that thing. So always focus on the positive. Always focus on the positive. Yes, your child is not getting this particular thing right, but that same child is doing this particular thing right. Focus on the positive, because what you focus on grows. What you focus on grows. Focus on the positive, not the negative. Avoid perfection, because it is perfection that wants you to micromanage. It is perfection that wants you to find yourself in a place where you are hovering around your children to do things perfectly, right? Make use of charts. Make use of charts. I like to say it, if you're still raising children and they're still young, let us meet paper everywhere around your house. Yes, paste it. A lot of the time, we prepare our house for guests better than we prepare it for our children. Your children are more important because that is their own primary place of living. Your guests will come and go. If there's a guest that will come and see pasted paper around your house just to help you put systems in place and complain, the guests should stay in their houses. Make use of charts. Make use of charts. Have SOPs. This is how we do it. Okay, yeah. If your children are still in that stage whereby they are still learning how to do it, have SOPs. Try to always look inward when there's a challenge at home. If there's something that is happening that you do not like, look inward. Don't conclude that your children are the problem, because your children are still learning. There are other things. There are so many things that are, as adults, who are still trying to learn. We're trying to be consistent with so many things. And we're not blaming anybody for it, right? So let us try as much as possible to see our children as the people that Allah has given us to guide, and we're there to always guide them. Look inward. If you see a challenge, if you see something that your child is not doing well, ask yourself, what is it that I can do to make it better? If your children are, a little bit older and you can speak with them, speak with them. What do you think we can do to make these things better? Right. We have spent 8 minutes over our time. In conclusion, raising responsible children requires discipline from the part of the parents and that of the children. So you yourself, you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined as a parent. You have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. If you are not disciplined, you can't raise responsible. Yesterday, I was talking about those that have bought courses and they have just abandoned it. They didn't work with the worksheet. They didn't do. Please, this is something that is important for you. It is part of being disciplined. If you're not disciplined, you can't raise children that are going to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. So it requires that you are disciplined as a parent, and for you to be able to actually raise children that are also disciplined. And our inability to discipline ourselves first as parents and become responsible, hinders our goals of raising responsible children. That's just it. If we are not responsible, if we are not disciplined enough to do the things that we're supposed to do, even when we do not feel like doing it, it's going to be something that will hinder us from trying to raise children that are responsible. Let us remember that children do not rebel against authority. Children do not rebel against authority. They rebel against hypocrisy. I'll say that again. Children do not rebel against authority. They rebel against hypocrisy. So if you have that child who you feel that is rebelling, you want to sit down again and think about it. My expectations of these children, the standard that I have set, am I meeting it for me to expect that my children are also going to meet this standard, right? So, and we have come to the conclusion of today, because I've spoken about so many ebooks that we can get from our seller page that can actually help us to put things into perspective. This is something that will help us if you actually go through it, and we try as much as possible to put it into action. Let us try as much as possible to get it. They are just there for ridiculous prices. If you know that your emotions will not help you to do certain things that we have spoken about today, get into the Master Your Emotion as a Parent course. This is something that will take you from point A to the points that you want to get to. It is something that is very important, right? Parents that have, that have taken the course, they know how, transformative it has been for them, right? They already know the things that they need to put in place for them to be able to raise wholesome children. You don't want to be left out of this, right? So try as much as possible to take the course and get the ebook for you to put things into perspective. So thank you so much for joining me on today's live. I do not take this for granted. It is not something I can do alone. Thank you for resharing. Thank you for reposting. This is something that I really appreciate, and I hope that you join us again next Friday, God willing, right? So I'll be expecting us again next Friday. May Allah spare our lives up to that time, wherever it is that I made mistake is from in, is from Shaitan. I pray that Allah forgives me, right? So thank you so much for joining me. See you again next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.